SRIRAM's IAS, serving the nation since 1985. Ab offline, hoya online, we are the lifeline.
Hello student, welcome to SRIRAM's IAS. Welcome to this current affair class number 18. I am presenting this class. I am Mayank Bharadwaj, and this is a very important issue which will help you in your upcoming examination. This issue relates with delimitation. Now, a delimitation exercise happens after every census in India. That is very important to understand, and it is about to come, okay? And there are concerns raised by the southern states. So this is one of the news of the Indian Express, which talks about the chief minister of the southern states, especially the Tamil Nadu, saying that it has been weaponized against the state that fulfilled its duties. And when they are talking about duties, they are talking about population control. Population control. Okay, so in our country we have a parliamentary form of government. In that parliamentary form of government, we know that candidates are chosen. They fight election, they contest election, and they come to the parliament, to the legislative assemblies. So there are constituencies everywhere in India. People in that constituency choose their leader, choose one candidate from so many candidates. One candidate either could be from a particular political party or can be an independent candidate, and that particular candidate who wins the election by the system of first past the post system goes to the parliament or goes to the state legislative assembly and sits there, makes law. So in all these things, what really happens is the size and the amount of population which one constituency has, the other constituency must also have the same amount of population. Okay, I hope you got it. Now, we are going to see it a bit deeply. Let us understand the context. Context is the chief ministers, as I've already told you, M.K. Stalin has raised concerns over the delimitation exercise which is coming up. So the word delimitation, what does it mean? If you see particularly this word delimitation, what does it mean? It's the process of redrawing the boundaries. So as I told you, two constituencies, the number of people inside it who will be voting has to be same. Okay, we'll look at the map and you will understand it better. So redrawing of the boundaries of the electoral constituencies based on population changes. So population is increasing. Each seat in Lok Sabha, there is one person who is sitting in that particular seat, and he is representing the number of people from where he has won the election. This is one constituency. This is one constituency. But because of the population increase, the number of people inside this constituency is increasing. Let's say it's increasing with the rate of 5%. But in this constituency, it is increasing with the rate of 10%. And in some other constituency, it is increasing with the rate of 15%. Whereas in southern state, as they are raising the question, the population increase is only 1%. Now think about it. All these delimitation happens on the basis of population change. Here it is written, no, elected constituency based upon the population changes. So if population is changing, and parliamentary form of government is all about numbers. The more number you have, then you can make the government, isn't it? The representation of the southern state who have been doing their duty of population control from many years, the representation of those have decreased in the parliament. It will decrease with the coming of the Delimitation Commission and the kind of formula it will use to delimit the boundaries. So that is the major concern of the southern states. It is conducted to ensure equal representation, but will there be equal representation? That is something to see. The constituencies of UP, where the population is increasing and has increased tremendously, are going to increase, whereas the constituencies in Tamil Nadu and the number of seats allocated to Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, Kerala are going to decrease because of less population in those states, and also because they have been, they are in doing their duty of population control from so many decades. So that is the concern. So this is India. This is how the constituencies look. The constituencies of Lok Sabha, if you look, this is a bigger constituency. This is a bigger constituency. Whereas if you see, this is the part of Uttar Pradesh. So many constituencies, smaller one are there. Now why the size of this one is bigger and the size of, let's say, this one or this one or this one is smaller? It is based on the population. For example, here 10 lakh people are living. In a smaller constituency also, in most practicable manner, 10 lakh people would be living. So it is based on population, you have to understand. And the southern states, the population is not as much as compared to the northern state. And the rate of population increase has decreased in the southern state because of implementation of the policy of population control. So they have been doing their duty, but electorally speaking from the point of view of allocation of the number of seats in the Lok Sabha, their representation in the Lok Sabha is going to decrease. If the delimitation, applies the same formula it has been applying in the last many decades. So that is the big issue here. I hope you got it. So the basic formula used is population per seat is equal to the total population of the state. If state legislative assembly delimitation is going to happen, then the population of the state upon the total number of seats allocated to that state. That simply means population per seat in most practicable manner has to be same. For example, in Uttar Pradesh as of now, there are 404 state legislative assembly seats. Mostly all of them will have population in the same proportion. That simply means the population of one constituency will be almost similar to the population of another constituency, and that is how it goes on for 404 seats. So same applies for the national level and same applies for the states. So the delimitation is based on population. Very important thing. Well, making the constituencies and the whole exercise, several things are kept in mind. What are these? Geographical compactness. How much compact an area is geographically. This is how they draw the boundaries of the constituency. Similarly, physical features are seen. Mountains are there, rivers are there, what are there? So in a way, they are not going to divide a constituency in such a way that a river is going and they are going to divide it like this. Most probably, it will be along this river, so that the electoral process which takes place in a easy way without much exercise of the electoral officers to cross the river from one end to the other, and it will be problematic, isn't it? There are many physical features which are kept in mind, such as rivers, such as other mountains and so many other things. Administrative boundaries are there, that is kept in mind. Communication facilities and public convenience, everything has to be seen, because at the basis of this delimitation there is election, and in election people go out to vote. And if you do not keep in mind the convenience of the public, they are not going to come out and vote. Then what is the meaning of having a democracy? Now, if you see the historical background, till now there have been 4 delimitation commissions in India. First one in 1952, then in 1962, 72 and 2002. The recent one was 2002. Subsequent commission revised the constituency boundaries based on census data. Now in 1976 something happened. By 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act, 1971 census was frozen as the basis for delimitation exercises. Why was it done? To incentivize people for population control, so that they control the population, and that was the basis, that became the basis for freezing this particular census of 1971 for the delimitation exercise. Now we know census happens after every 10 years. 1921, then 1931, then 41, 51, and similarly 2011 census is there with us. Now in 2022 something happened. The freeze was extended till 2026 and now we are in 2025 and there's 1 year left. That simply means next Delimitation Commission is going to come up. It may take some other census, not necessarily 1971 census. Most practical way of taking up census will be 2011 census, which is the recent census. Okay. The next delimitation exercise is scheduled based on the most recent census data, which will be 2011 census, and that is why this whole politics is happening everywhere in the country. The concerns of the southern state has been raised by many politicians at the national level and at the regional level as well. Constitutional provisions related with it. Now, this is important for your upcoming examination. This is important for your prelims examination and also to mention in the mains examination. If you see, article number 82 provides the reallocation and readjustment of the Lok Sabha seats. Reallocation of seats and readjustment of the boundaries. So, if let's say one constituency was this big, okay, and another one this big, with the coming of the census and increasing of the population, their sizes may decrease. Because earlier, let's say there were 10 lakh people living in this constituency and almost 10 lakh people living in this constituency. Let's say this was the year 1971 or 2002. Now in 2025, their sizes may decrease because the less area contains more population because of the increase in the population size. So this smaller size may contain 10 here and 10 here. So the number of constituencies are going to increase. Okay, and this number of constituencies are going to increase in states where the population has increased. And in this manner, the southern states are coming out as losers because they did their duty of population control and now they have to pay in 2026 Delimitation Commission. Center has said nothing as of now on this exercise. Let's see what happens then. Article 170 governs reallocation of seats in the state legislative assembly and this one in the Article 82 in the Lok Sabha. Then there are two more articles, 327 and 328, saying different things. It empowers the parliament and the state legislature to make laws regarding elections and delimitation. So making law on delimitation rests with parliament. As far as other matters of election go in the state legislative assembly under article 328, state legislative assembly is also empowered to make laws. Not on delimitation but yes, on let's say electoral rolls and efficiency in the election process and other things. So these are important constitutional provisions in front of us. Now, what is this Delimitation Commission? How is it constituted? So it's in simple words constituted by the President of India. It's a very important exercise, a very important body constituted by the head of the state himself, headed by the retired Supreme Court judge as the chairperson, includes Chief Election Commissioner, respective states election commissioners. So it is an inclusive body which is including too many people from all walks of life, and wherever there is stakes which are high, for example MPs and MLAs from affected states are also the part of this. Although they do not have the voting rights, but they are the part of this commission to keep their voice in front of the commission so that they are not at loss. Okay. It is finalization of the boundaries happens here. The commission drafts proposal and conduct public consultations. Its recommendations are binding. Now this is important. The recommendations are binding and cannot be challenged in court. So it limits court power to interfere in the delimitation process. The allocation of seats which has to be done will be done by wider consensus. It will include officers of the government of India. It will include chairman of the Election Commission, which is the constitutional body, the chairmen of the State Election Commission, which is a constitutional body, member of parliament and MLAs from the affected regions. The head of this is the retired Chief Justice, and it is constituted by the President. It is a very inclusive body taking care of the problems and issues which are raised by all sections of people, and interference of court is not allowed in this particular exercise. And whatever the result be of this particular exercise of delimitation, it is always binding. You must understand this. Now, what is the concern of the southern state? This is what we are talking about. The states such as Kerala, Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu. What they are saying? They have successfully controlled the population growth over the period of time. So, in one or the other way, the nation used to look towards the southern state when it comes to population control. And now for that particular reason, the whole region of southern India is suffering because the allocation of seats which are done in the Lok Sabha are done on the basis of population, and there they have decreased the population, whereas the northern states have increased the population. So the southern state are fearing, what are they fearing? Declining of representation in the national politics. Okay. Political shift towards the northern states, and of course they have been penalized for controlling the population. So what they are saying is the whole control of politics will shift towards the northern state. Their representation in the national politics or in the Lok Sabha, in the Raj Sabha is going to decrease. That is the major threat to the southern state, major concern for the southern state. So political and legal implications, government stand. The union government has not yet announced any change to the 2026 delimitation process, and opposition view is simple. They are simply standing with the southern states. They understand and accept the reality that the southern state has been penalized for population change, and many regional parties and opposition groups have supported Tamil Nadu's demand. Because Tamil Nadu has also brought up its own formula for the upcoming delimitation exercise. Potential constitutional amendment which can be done as the demand gains momentum, the Indian Parliament may consider amending constitution to extend the freeze. Now, as we know, in 2022, the delimitation, the process of delimitation was freezed till 2026. So one of the idea is that the freeze may be extended, let's say for coming 10 years or 20 years. So it will be freeze till 2046. But this is one idea. Not necessarily the center may accept it or implement it or alter the representation rules. That as of now, population and the changes in population is the basic criteria of delimitation. There can be changes in rule which can help the southern state to get more satisfaction in the national politics. So there are possible solutions which we have written. Increasing total Lok Sabha seat, that simply means it should be proportionally increased throughout India, not necessarily decreasing the number of seats in the southern states. This is one solution. Fair representation formula, which says a new system ensuring the states are not penalized for population control, and the national consultation, which simply means discussion among all states to reach a consensus on delimitation. So it is raising questions on federalism also. Federalism also, which is also the basic structure of the Constitution of India. Why? Because the constituting power of the states proportionally will be changed because of their representation in the national politics, and hence the voice of the southern state may decrease. earlier also they had issues with the implementation of GST, because GST has become a different kind of tax regime. They are taxing the end product rather than the manufacturing of that product. Most of the manufacturing came from southern state. So tax were collected by the southern state. Now it is a consumption, GST is a consumption based tax system. That simply means wherever the product may have been manufactured, the tax will be collected where the product is consumed. So let's say a car was made in some factory in Tamil Nadu and it was sold to a factory or an outlet in Uttar Pradesh. The tax will be collected in Uttar Pradesh. So there is no more excise duty as it was earlier, where the tax was collected where the manufacturing took place, but the tax is collected at the end point where the consumption happened. And for that reason, the southern state have lost a great share of taxation income, the indirect tax income, because of the consumption based tax, because of the GST. So that was one concern of the southern state, and now this is the another concern of penalization of population. So we have already seen this slide. So there is where our presentation ends. It is a very important exercise for the national politics, for the constitution to work properly, for the elections to happen properly, for the representation of the people and the equal and fair representation of the people. That is important. Now think about a situation where one member of parliament is representing lakhs of people, whereas other member of parliament is only representing a handful of people. Now that will not be proper. There is no equitable representation like this. So it is very important to have a delimitation process, a delimitation commission to look after the allocation of seats in the Lok Sabha, allocation of seats in the state legislative assembly, to look after the changes of the boundaries of the constituencies everywhere in India. But at the same time, no state, especially the southern state, must be penalized for population change. So thank you very much for joining me in this video. We will come up with next video, a very important topic of current affair next time. Thank you very much and Jai Hind.